attempt to position India as an exclusivist Hindu rashtra, where Muslims are being aggressively pushed to the margins. This narrative is once again peaking as the nation draws closer to the date of the Pran Pratishtha of Ram Lalla's idol at Ayodhya. That's going to be happening, viewers, in about 10-12 days. You've heard the propaganda from Rahul Gandhi saying that India is ruled by the Hindu equivalent of the militantly communal Muslim Brotherhood, to Shashi Tharoor dismissing India as a Hindu Pakistan, and several in between painting a dire picture for the future of Muslims in an incipient Hindu Rashtra, viewers. You heard it all. Asaduddin Owaisi, there is a clear BJP plot to snatch our mosques, he says, in a faux show of victimhood just before the Pran Pratishtha on January 22nd. But if India had ghettoized its Muslim population and Hindu supremacists had launched a genocide, why would Arab countries be deepening their engagement with India under Modi's leadership? Think about it, viewers. In fact, if anything, several Arab and Islamic countries have elevated ties or taken pro-India positions on issues that could risk friendship and credibility with brother Islamic countries like Pakistan and Turkey. Why would they risk all of this? Many Gulf nations, for instance, were pointedly muted. And here are another set of hard facts. When the Modi government abrogated Article 370 and Article 35A, paving the way for the constitutional and emotional integration of Jammu and Kashmir with mainland India, the UAE, as a matter of fact, viewers, surprised perhaps even New Delhi by backing the abrogation to the hilt. The UAE called the political reform a step towards improving, and I quote, social justice and security and confidence of the people in local governance. And it says will encourage further stability and peace. For this endorsement, the UAE had to endure a earful from its traditional partner Pakistan, that sees itself as a stakeholder in Jammu and Kashmir. But clearly, viewers, UAE was ready to risk ties with Pakistan in favor of India. In September 2023, while hosting the G20 summit, the Modi government pulled off the equivalent of a diplomatic coup by floating the India-Middle East Economic Corridor, IMEEC. The grouping will lock the Middle East and Europe into an immutable economic embrace with India. Moreover, it also thwarts China's growing influence in the region through the Belt and Road Initiative. Now, China, that is a big investor in the Middle East, will not be happy by this. Yet, viewers, these Arab nations, these Islamic nations are ready to even, at some level, niggle or needle China to build ties with India. Many members, viewers, of the anti-Modi ecosystem will insist that don't get carried away, that these partnerships should not be considered an endorsement of India's secular credentials under the NDA, that ties between India and the Gulf nations are purely transactive and certainly above the tug of morality. While countries, viewers, it is true, have sometimes chosen to overlook sticky problems, especially linked to human rights, it would be naive to suggest that the UAE, an Islamic nation, would go the extra yard for purely commercial reasons to sacrifice Muslim interests in India. After all, viewers, the OIC, the umbrella grouping of Gulf nations, has always spoken up for Muslim rights around the world. And if this weren't the case, if they were purely transactive, Modi's BJP would never have dropped its spokespersons when they hurt minority sentiments and drew frack from Middle Eastern nations. Now, viewers, even the United States, that is economically over-leveraged to China, has demonstrated the nous, the guts, to denote the Xi Jinping administration in Beijing as one of particular concern. Not my words, the State Department's words. Why? for engaging in and tolerating, quote, particularly severe violations of religious freedom, unquote. Viewers, the United States, to best of my knowledge, has never conferred any significant state award upon any visiting Chinese head of state. Modi, on the other hand, has been singled out for honors by almost all Gulf nations. Here are more hard facts, viewers, and I always bring you the hard facts so that you are closer to the truth. Egypt conferred Modi with the Order of the Nile, the first Indian to receive the honor. It's their top honor, viewers. Bahrain King Hamad, Order of the Renaissance. Maldives even gave Order of Distinguished Rule of Nishan Izzuddin, the highest honor awarded to a foreign dignitary. UAE conferred Modi with the Order of Zayed, the highest civilian honor of UAE. Palestine conferred Modi with the Grand Collar of the State of Palestine, the highest honor for foreign dignitaries. Afghanistan, State Order of Ghazi Amir Amanullah Khan. Saudi Arabia conferred the Order of Abdul Aziz Al Saud, the highest honor for non-Muslim dignitaries. Viewers, forging ties with a nation for self-serving ends is one thing, but imparting certificates to its leaders demonstrates a whole new level of commitment. A civilian award denotes the respect that the people, in this case Muslims in Islamic nations, have for the Indian Prime Minister. Respect, as we know, is earned. It's never commanded. It's earned through actions. The left liberal ecosystem's attempt at propagating the Islamophobia bogey in India is looking more and more like a jaded enterprise with no takers. Is this a legitimate question or a statement to make, viewers? Let's put it out to debate. Is the growing bonhomie between UAE and India a stamp for NDA's Sabka Saath? Fundamental question, viewers, tonight. And let's put it out there for debate. Let me begin with our esteemed panel. Let me first ask UMF President, who is here with us. It's an umbrella organization, Shahid Ali Sahab. The UAE is building ties with India. You have awards being given by Arab nations to the Indian Prime Minister. Yet, people like you say that Muslim rights in India are being circumscribed. They are being abused. That Muslims are being marginalized. How is this possible, sir? This is a contradiction in terms.
Both the things are true. As far as the conferring of awards are concerned, undoubtedly, this is a matter of pride for us as well, because we are the citizens of India. And as and when any prize or any award is conferred upon Honorable Prime Minister of India, then he is bringing pride to us as well, all citizens of India. That is true. And that other part is also true, unfortunately. That ought not to have been. That the we people are being marginalized. There is no second thought to that. There is no contradiction to that. And that is a fact.
No, are you saying that the governments in the Gulf, Arab governments, would let you down? That they will turn a blind eye and they will give Prime Minister Modi awards for doing this?
I cannot rely upon other governments because I am citizen of India, this great India, and I love my country a lot.
No. Sorry, sir. People like you have said. One second. Now you're changing the goalposts.
Sir.
Shahid bhai,
if those countries are conferring award upon our Honorable Prime Minister, undoubtedly, this is a matter of pride for us as well.
I agree.
We cannot look for them.
Why is it a matter of pride?
For us rescue.
Because the Prime Minister is doing a good job, right? That's why it's a matter of pride.
See, sir, we believe in our constitution and we respect constitution. We believe that we can fight it out in our own country. We will not look towards them, towards other countries.
Shahid bhai, just 1 second. Why are you proud? Why are you proud that Prime Minister is getting awards from Middle Eastern countries? Why does it make you proud? Because the Prime Minister is doing a good job.
Because he is our head.
Oh, that's all.
So
that's all. It is only because he is the denotative head of India and not because he is doing a good job.
he is Sir, he is representing entire nation.
Okay.
All peoples of India.
Okay,
All
please.
peoples of India, whether they are citizens or even not citizens. But if they are living in India, then he is representing to all peoples of India.
Now, let me also...
Undoubtedly.
Okay.
Now, that is the one thing. Now, your question was something else, sir. Your question was that we should look towards them for a rescue. We will not. Who they are? Absolutely, we will not. We have our agencies, absolutely powerful agencies. We have our constitution, we have honorable courts.
Okay.
All agencies are so powerful, honorable courts are so powerful.
So, Shahid
we
bhai,
can look towards them. We will not look towards
okay.
those countries कि भैया आ जाओ हम बचा लो क्यों बचाएंगे
ठीक है, मैं
हम
आपको बताता हूँ शाहिद भाई, because when certain people had made certain statements that certain people took very, very personally, what was said? अरे हमारे भाई UAE वाले और Arab Gulf wale, they are getting upset with India. And you see, our ties with these countries will go down the drain. Mr. Modi is hurting these countries, therefore, action should be taken. Then what was said? When the Prime Minister came out and condemned Hamas for being a terror organization, Arey, you are upsetting our brothers in Palestine and a large number of Gulf countries. You are ruining our equations, our traditional equations. तब तो आपको बड़ी लगी रहती है सर उनके बारे में. Anyhow, I understand. Let me bring in the BJP national spokesperson. Give me 30 seconds. It's okay, sir. You can pick and choose the moment you want to embrace your brothers in the Gulf and ditch them. That's your prerogative. But let me just open this up. I want to ask you.
That is not correct statement.
Well, I don't know, sir, because then you tell me.
That is not correct.
Then you tell me, why do we put so much premium on what the Gulf thinks about India? Then why do we worry whether we back Israel or we back Palestine or whoever? Why do you worry then? Anyhow, one second.
Yes, I will answer to that.
I have spent enough time with you.
That.
I have spent enough time with you. Let me open the debate out. Please. I'll open the debate out. So we are not running away from this debate. I'll come back to you. Sanju Verma ji, I want to ask you this question. We are being told that the UAE and everyone else is conferring these awards because, you see, it is nice to do so. It is just optics. That there is no real substance.
You know, Rahul, you put out a very comprehensive introduction there, and taking up from the chain of thought that you put out, I would like to make a couple of very quick but pertinent points. Point number one, you know, going beyond the fact that Prime Minister Narendra Modi was given the Order of the Nile in June 2023, Grand Order of the Palestine in 2018, the King Abdulaziz Award by Saudi Arabia in 2016, the Order of the Renaissance by Bahrain in 2019, so on and so forth. The moot point is this. I always believe that by and large, good economics makes for good politics. And I'll tell you why. You know, in the last couple of years, there's been a very perceptible shift. Earlier, the entire bilateral trade between India and the UAE was all about oil, and more oil. It was limited to oil diplomacy. We took a historic step last year on the 25th of September 2023, when defined convention, we exported 75,000 tons of non-basmati rice to the UAE to satiate their need for food security. Today, out of the annual $85 billion bilateral trade between UAE and India, do you know something? $51 billion is non-oil trade, which was unthinkable earlier. And to add to what you said about the India-Europe Middle East economic corridor, you know, going forward, this is not only going to enhance defense cooperation, maritime security, and infrastructure connectivity between Arab nations and India, but more importantly, I would like to draw the attention of your viewers to Operation Desert Cyclone, which started as recently as Jan 2nd, 2024. For the first time in many years, the UAE and India have commenced from the 2nd of Jan this year in Rajasthan what is called Operation Desert Cyclone to enhance cooperation, joint surveillance, interoperability, and tactical training across the UAE's and India's armed forces, which I think is a historic step. But coming back to the economics of it, I remember a few years back, the ASEAN was India's biggest trading bloc.
True.
And do you know something today, Rahul? ASEAN is India's second biggest trading bloc. Our bilateral trade with ASEAN is about $132 billion. But our biggest trading bloc is the GCC, the Gulf Cooperation Council, which is made up of 6 Islamic nations, primarily the UAE, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Bahrain, Oman, and Kuwait. And our bilateral annual trade with the GCC is a whopping $242 billion, out of which our largest trading partner is the UAE, followed by Saudi Arabia. So the limited point I'm trying to make is, if you see the shift from oil to non-oil trade, if you see, and look at the fact that today UAE and the GCC are our biggest trading bloc partners in terms of commercials. But more importantly, don't forget, if there is one historic day on the 22nd of January by way of the consecration ceremony at the Bhavya Ram Mandir, don't forget February 14th, 2024, when Prime Minister Narendra Modi will be inaugurating the Bhavya Bath Swami Narayan Mandir at the UAE, which is unthinkable. This could not have happened 9 or 10 or even 20 years back.
Okay, so let me bring it.
I will end by saying one thing, Rahul, which is very important. Do you remember March 1st, 2019? Sushma Swaraj had been invited by the OIC for its 46th council meeting, and Pakistan and a whole host of Islamic nations said that, if Sushma Swaraj is invited, then we will boycott the event. And Pakistan went to the extent of saying that when UAE as a federation came into existence on the 2nd of December 1971, Pakistan was the first country to recognize it.
But UAE backed us.
But what did the OIC and what did the other Muslim nations say? They
in
actually
particular
stood
UAE.
in solidarity, with India. And I think
in fact, UAE proposed that.
From there.
In fact, UAE proposed that. Let me bring in Sushant Sareen, senior fellow at the ORF. Now Sushant Sareen, yes, okay, there is an economic rationale that underpins this, and perhaps even now a strategic rationale that underpins this growing bonhomie, let's call it that for the lack of a better word. But that hasn't stopped some of these countries. I mean, you could say that under I2U2, that extends also to Israel or the United States, but citizens of those countries, the Gulf countries, have come out on the streets and protested against the United States as well as against Israel. But in this conflict, for example, and under Mr. Modi's rule over the last 9 years, we have never seen any protests against India in any of these countries, which tells you that perhaps this ecosystem-led narrative that the Muslim is in danger, is imperiled in India, etc., is not being bought on the Muslim street, so to speak, in the Middle East. Am I right to conclude this?
Yes, I think largely you are right, Rahul. Look, and that contradiction was what Mr. Shahid Ali said. I must commend him for saying that he is not dependent, or the Muslims of India do not look for outside support for their own rights. But then this entire litany that they are discriminated against, that they are being marginalized, they don't say how they are being marginalized. In the same breath, he goes on to say, but we have faith in our institutions, we have faith in our democracy, we have faith in our judiciary. Now, if you were indeed being marginalized unconstitutionally, illegally, then obviously all those institutions and everything else that you've expressed so much confidence in is collapsing, right? Those institutions have ceased to work. So clearly there's a contradiction. I can understand the politics from where he's coming, and I can also understand that there are social tensions in this country. Now, this is something other countries of the world also observe. Now, countries like the UAE, Saudi Arabia and others, they have a hands-off kind of an approach. They will not interfere in your internal affairs, just as they don't expect you to interfere in their internal affairs. That is one. Secondly, they run a very tight ship. In countries like Saudi Arabia, for example, the Pakistanis tried it. They tried to demonstrate in front of the Holy Mosque, and they were all rounded up and put into jail and deported. The Indian diaspora across the board is extremely disciplined. They do not violate the laws. They stick to the laws. They follow the laws. They work hard. and they are generally very honest people, unlike the Pakistanis. So the Indians are a preferred partner. Even when they block visas for the Pakistanis, they don't do it for the Indians. They don't allow any political demonstrations of this kind in their countries. Even in the Israel case or the Gaza case, at least in countries like Saudi Arabia and in the UAE, I think a couple of other GCC countries, there were no demonstrations allowed. Maybe in Qatar, but Qatar plays a dodgy game anyways. The third factor is, and I think this is where, Rahul, you have to give, Sanju is right, economics, is the best kind of diplomacy. That's right. But you have to give credit to Mr. Modi's government for investing so heavily in building up a relationship with the Middle Eastern countries, the Arab countries in particular. This area, which is so important to us, right, from the point of view of energy security, from the point of view of economic security, our diaspora goes and lives out there. We earn something like $70-80 billion in remittances from this area. Trade figures Sanju Verma has just given you. And yet, government after government before Mr. Modi simply did not invest in this relationship. For 30 years, we did not have a single prime minister visit the UAE, which is such a important, pivotal country. It's like a mini superpower of the region.
That's true.
Right? Mr. Modi went out there, he started investing in that relationship. And I think one of the most outstanding achievements, at least insofar as foreign policy is concerned, is the completely changed landscape of India's relationship with the Arab countries. That is the single most important achievement, even more than the US.
But you would have to agree, Mr. Sareen, that he was welcomed. He was welcomed because he was a credible interlocutor for them. Had he not been credible, had he had blood dripping, as people say, Muslim blood dripping through his fingers, slipping through his fingers, they would never have entertained him, would they have?
Because Rahul, unlike the Western countries, who send their parachute journalists into India of the New York Times and these rags, Washington Post and others, who come with a certain prejudice mindset that these natives of India don't know what democracy is and other stuff. The Arabs are far more relaxed about how things work, right? They see what is happening. They can see there is no exodus of Muslims from India. Is there?
No.
There are no.
In fact, Rohingyas want to come to India. Afghans want to come to India. People from Syria want to come to India. People from Balochistan want to come to India.
Rahul, even on the CAA thing.
Yeah.
Yes, there were protests in India. Okay, fine, there were protests. But just look at the fact, was anybody expelled from India because of CAA?
No.
Was anybody's citizenship taken away because of CAA? In fact, the CAA has not even been, even the rules have not been given by the government, which I always hold against this particular government. But the fact of the matter remains that this canard and this calumny which has been heaped on the current government is completely, it does not, the facts on ground don't bear it out.
Okay, I think.
Can I just add to that?
Yeah, I want to bring in the AMM. Very quickly, Sanju Verma, 20 seconds. Please make your point, then I'll just bring in the AMM, then I can bring you back in. Yes.
Thank you. Rahul, just to add to what Sushant Sareen rightly pointed out, I want to also say that I think one of the biggest achievements of Narendra Modi's foreign policy is the de-hyphenation of Israel and Palestine. Remember, he is the first Prime Minister to have visited Israel in 2017 in 70 long years, and followed that up with a visit to Ramallah in 2018. And mind you, Narendra Modi is the only post-independent India Prime Minister to have visited Bahrain also in 2019. That speaks volumes about his credibility.
And the UAE, to their credit, and other Arab nations have also significantly de-hyphenated their relationship with India and Pakistan. So that has also happened. So there has been movement from both sides. Let me just bring in the AIMM spokesperson, Adil Hassan. He hasn't spoken and it's been a significant time. Sorry, sir. I just want to ask you a question that actually Sushant Sareen raised. And I want to ask you this question. How are you being marginalized? Your party represents significantly Muslim interests. How are you being marginalized? Can you point out some examples? And if so, then how do you say that you have faith in India's institutions that if you are being marginalized would be clearly, obviously complicit in this marginalization?
राहुल, कल का जो सुप्रीम कोर्ट का जजमेंट है, इससे बढ़ के कुछ नहीं हो सकता है कि होम मिनिस्ट्री ने बिल्किस बानो के मामले में 22 जुलाई को होम मिनिस्ट्री ने क्लियर दिया, अमित शाह साहब ने दिया, और रेपिस्ट के साथ भाजपा खड़ी है। पहली बार हो रहा है ये नारी सम्मान का भाषण 15 अगस्त को लाल किला से होगा। भाजपा सरकार होम मिनिस्टर खड़ी है, भाजपा के दोनों एमएलए उसको अतिथि देव भवा कह रहे हैं, उनका स्वागत कर रहे हैं, उनको इस्तकबाल कर रहे हैं, और प्राइम मिनिस्टर देश को मिल रहा है। सिर्फ नरेंद्र मोदी जी को यह सम्मान नहीं मिला, ये भारत को सम्मान मिल रहा है। उम्मीद करते हैं कल प्रधानमंत्री बिल्किस बानो से मिलेंगे क्या? प्रधानमंत्री उसके परिवार से उसके आंसू पोंछेंगे क्या? अमित शाह माफी मांगेंगे क्या? अमित शाह ने जो रेमिनेशन में साइन किया था होम मिनिस्ट्री ने, माफी मांगेंगे क्या कि भाजपा सरकार ने क्या किया? भाजपा के दबाव में, गुजरात सरकार के दबाव के चलते महाराष्ट्र में बिल्किस का ट्रायल हुआ था। क्या भाजपा को इतना शर्म नहीं आ रहा है कि एक मेंबर ऑफ पार्लियामेंट मुस्लिम नहीं, एक मिनिस्टर नहीं, एक रिप्रेजेंटेटिव नहीं, और मुसलमानों की बात करते हैं? ये भारत को यूएई से सम्मान मिल रहा है, ये मोदी जी को सम्मान नहीं मिल रहा है, ये भारत के आर्थिक नीतियों को जो 75 साल की मेहनत है उसको मिल रहा है, सिर्फ नरेंद्र मोदी जी को नहीं मिल रहा है। अगर नरेंद्र मोदी जी को दिल में इतना जरा है तो तबरेज अंसारी हो, पहलू खान हो, जुनैद हो, नसीर हो, कभी वहां में उनके भी गले लगा ले, उनके भी घर के लोगों से मिल ले, कभी भारत के भी मस्जिद में जाकर मिल ले, और कभी बात करे, कभी वहां पर लगे कि भारत के भी मुसलमानों से उनको हमदर्दी।
चलिए मैं पूछता हूँ, ये सवाल पूछते हैं,
भारत के भी मुसलमानों से मिले वो।
चलिए मैं एक चीज बता दूं, मगर एक चीज मैं बता दूं, मैं एक चीज यहाँ बता दूं,
बताइए।
आपको बताऊं कि असदुद्दीन ओवैसी ने भी कोई कश्मीरी हिंदू के साथ गले नहीं लगाए हैं, ये भी मैं बता दूं ना। उन्होंने ना, मेरी बात सुन लीजिए सर, देखिए मैंने आपको आई लेट यू स्पीक,
राहुल
ये गलत बात, अब आपने बात नहीं सुन रहे हैं, अब देखिए आप मेरे पे बोलेंगे, चीखेंगे,
आपने मेरे
नहीं बात तो सुन लीजिए ना। यू कैन रिस्पॉन्ड सर, once you can answer. No, please just give me 30 seconds, sir.
Okay. I want 30-second reply.
Yeah, you can, and then Sanju Verma will come and rebut you immediately. Yeah, okay. मेरी बात सुनिए।
बोलिए।
There were viewers, several outrages even against the majority community. I think if you went to Kota in Rajasthan, etc., Udaipur, there were people killed at the exhortation of certain leaders of the AMM, let me tell you. But no one came and visited them and their families after their heads were decapitated. So let us not reduce this to a tutu meme. The point here is, viewers, that there are aberrations, but the state comes and protects the minority interests or even the majority interests. Those aberrations are corrected, which shows that India is still a thriving democracy despite aberrations. I mean, we had for years altogether several unaddressed riot cases. And I'm not just talking about Gujarat, where there has been many people have gone to jail in Gujarat, viewers. Let's not forget, these people who have given remission, very wrong that they were, however, went to jail. Not one killer of a Kashmiri Hindu has gone to jail. In fact, the killers were embraced, given platforms. Yes, 30 seconds from you, Mr. Hassan, and then Sanju Verma must respond on the larger substantive point. Yes.
राहुल, कश्मीरी पंडित के लिए सब पार्लियामेंट में बैरिस्टर असदुद्दीन ओवैसी साहब ने हमेशा आवाज उठाया। महबूबा मुफ्ती
घर में तो गए नहीं,
सरकार बनाई,
घर में तो नहीं गए, घर में तो नहीं गए।
आपको नहीं पता है, ऑल पार्टी डेलीगेशन में बैरिस्टर साहब कश्मीर गए थे, वहां पर सोमनाथ, सुनिए संजू, डोंट डिस्टर्ब देम, otherwise I will do the same.
You are not the anchor. Anchor is Rahul Shivshankar.
I'm giving you 30 seconds. Mr. Hassan, by the watch, 30 seconds, make your point, 30 seconds, and Sanju Verma, don't eat up her time. Yes.
1990 में भारत की सरकार में जब कश्मीरी पंडितों के साथ हुआ, भाजपा बाहर से समर्थन की थी, महबूबा मुफ्ती के साथ, मुफ्ती मोहम्मद सईद के साथ सरकार बनाई, अजहर मसूद को कंधार जाकर भाजपा सरकार छोड़ी, जिन्ना के मदार पे अडवाणी जी गए और नवाज शरीफ के।
आप अपने लीडर की बात कीजिए, आदिल हसन साहब, आप अपने लीडर की बात कीजिए, आप अपने लीडर की बात कीजिए, जिन्होंने प्लेसेस ऑफ वर्शिप एक्ट को भी सपोर्ट किया। 1 मिनट, आप अपनी पार्टी की बात कीजिए, जिसने प्लेसेस ऑफ वर्शिप एक्ट को भी सपोर्ट किया, जिस एक्ट की वजह से Hindus lost their right, basic right in this country. No, 1 second. I've heard you now. Let Sanju Verma come in. Sanju Verma, please respond to him. Please respond. Sanju Verma comes in.
I need my time because, I don't want this man to be heckling me, Rahul.
Yeah, okay.
First and foremost, if the Supreme Court has said that let the Bilkis Bano perpetrators go back to the lockup, we welcome that. I will not indulge in whataboutery saying I don't trust the Supreme Court conveniently when they speak in favor of, things that the BJP endorses and vice versa. The limited point is this: people today who are screaming
Ma'am,
from
let
every
him-
rooftop.
sir, let him-
What is
let
this,
her finish.
Rahul?
Yeah.
People who are screaming from every rooftop about Bilkis Bano is the same
जानिए प्रधानमंत्री
shameful,
बिल्किस बानो क्या है?
hypocritical lot. I refuse to debate. You can have him speak.
No,
Because
Mr.
you are
Hassan, this is
refusing
not
to
right.
bow
I'll have to
down.
lower your
No,
fader.
if she
I will
will-
lower
no,
his
if
fader,
she will
please.
come-
This is not right. Let her respond. You ask some questions, let her respond. You can challenge her again. No problem. Yes. Yes,
The same
Sanjay.
lot, including this man from the INIB, the same lot speaks and waxes eloquent about Bilkis Bano, fine. But you don't, have an iota of sympathy till date for Shah Bano, a woman with 5 kids who was thrown out by her lawyer husband and who was denied a paltry alimony of 179 rupees a month because Rajiv Gandhi overturned the Supreme Court judgment. बिल्किस बानो के लिए आपके पेट में दर्द उमड़ता है, सही है, पर शाह बानो के लिए आज तक आपके पेट में कभी दर्द नहीं उमड़ा. You never spoke of in solidarity with her. You said that the BJP victimized people like Tabrez Ansari, Pehlu Khan, Junaid Khan, blah blah blah. But I have not seen your leader Asaduddin Owaisi once condemn people from your community who brutally hacked to death a young 23-year-old IB officer Ankit Sharma at the peak of the Shaheen Bagh riots.
That is-
I have
that
never
is
seen
true.
your leader, from
Rahul, I want to answer.
Yeah,
name
I'll let
Asaduddin
you.
Owaisi
Yes.
once talk about Mukesh Tiwari hacked to death by radical Islamists. Once talk about Nishant Rathod hacked to death by radical Islamists.
There
Once
is-
talk
there is a
about
lot-
Shrikant Pujari. Once talk about Prashant Pujari. Once talk about Sachin Gopalan. Once talk about Trilochan Mahato. Once talk about Dhulel Kumar. All these Hindus were killed by your radical Islamist brothers. और आपके असदुद्दीन ओवैसी साहब के मुंह में तब फेविकॉल जम गया था. इसलिए यहाँ बैठकर
Adil Hassan, any of your leaders, have any of your leaders visited the homes of these bereaved Hindu families? No. Let's be honest.
सुनिए, let me speak.
हाँ, बोलिए.
इस तरीके से we are not representative of Islamic State here. We are
right,
representative
right.
of political party.
Yes,
अब
yes.
जिस मैडम जो शाह बानो की बात कर रही है ना,
ठीक.
यशोदा बैंक जो हमारी भाभी गुजरात में, उनके लिए भी हम आवाज उठाएं.
देखिए, this is not a debate. Let me step in here. This is not a debate about Bilkis Bano. This is a debate about, viewers, very clearly, a fundamental aspect. 1 second, Sanju ji. This is not a debate, or Hassan Sahab, this is not a debate about Bilkis Bano. An exception is not the norm. The courts have dealt with the Bilkis Bano issue. The BJP government in Gujarat will have to obviously now act upon what the Supreme Court has said. That matter has been addressed. Those particular individuals who were released also have a right to legal recourse. They might exercise it, they may not. We will have to see. And they might demonstrate before the Maharashtra government, etc., etc. But that's a due process. The point here is, viewers, that no one, apart from clutching at this one example, is able to substantiate and answer Mr. Sushant Sareen with facts about how marginalization of Muslims has taken place. No one. There have been, and no one is denying it, you can't run away from it. There have been obvious communal clashes between Hindus and Muslims that erupt from time to time, very wrong in my opinion. But does that mean, viewers, that there is ghettoization here happening? The very fact that Mr. Hassan and the very fact that Shahid Ali can speak in this way on national TV shows that Muslims have a robust voice. In fact, at other times, Kashmiri Muslims representing Muslim interests are sitting on our debates and abusing Mr. Modi left, right and center, and nothing goes wrong, nothing happens. This is not the sign of a ghettoized community, viewers. This genie that is constantly pulled out and floated now needs to be once and for all buried. All the symbolism is there for us to see on our screens. Mr. Modi being lauded, given civilian honors. Civilian honors are not given by a state, viewers. Of course, they are accorded by a state, but they are actually given by the people of a particular country recognizing another. And that only comes through respect. You earn respect, viewers. You don't command it. Let's get to debate number 2, which is a fascinating debate, viewers, because it comes on the back of one of the biggest admissions after the Congress party roared into power in Karnataka by promising guarantees, 5 or 6 guarantees to the people. Viewers, the Chief Minister, Mr. Siddaramaia's economic advisor, has stated that the implementation of these guarantees is destined to take a toll on the state's exchequer because nearly 58,000 crores has been earmarked for these schemes. Basavaraj Rea Reddy has even said that he is looking to get funds from the centre now to make up that difference so that they can honour these promises. Another minister, Mr. S. Darshanapura, had admitted that the guarantee schemes will take a toll on the infrastructure development in Karnataka. In fact, even Karnataka Deputy Chief Minister D.K. Shivakumara had earlier admitted that the state government was suffering from a paucity of funds to bankroll not just development projects but also the guarantees, the funds that were supposed to be given out as welfare to the electorate. Now, this raises some very severe questions, viewers. And the questions are simple. Did the Congress therefore overreach? Number one. Number two, did they actually buy votes? Why are these SOPs? And has this entire scheme now come to bite them? Viewers, let's open this up. This is a fundamental point. And let me also tell you, viewers, there are some hard facts. And they will show you just how badly off Karnataka's finances are. And they will appear on your screens right now. Which tells you that the Congress knew before it took power that their promises, their guarantees, their SOPs, call them what you want. The BJP calls them electoral bribes. We're going to bankrupt the state. Who is going to pay for it? It's the taxpayer, viewers. It's you who is going to pay for it. Look at the numbers on your screens. State debt is going up. GDP to GSDP ratio is going up. Which is the gross domestic product. Ratio is going up. State debt is going up. All of those numbers are at unimaginable levels. So let's open this up. Vijay Prasad, spokesperson of the Karnataka BJP, goes up against Mr. Vivek Bansal and also Prasenjit K. Bose, an economist. Now, let me ask you, sir, Mr. Bansal, did you bribe electors, voters? Did you mislead them saying that, look, we will fulfill these guarantees, and now the economic advisor to the chief minister says we have no money? So this was absolutely a bribe. This was not some thought out, economically solvent promise. Mr. Bansal?
Excuse me for that. What you are saying, it's completely not at all. I would not agree at all with that. On the contrary,
I'm not saying it, by the way.
The central government on the dock.
It's the state's advisor.
Whatever you are alleging.
No, I am not alleging anything.
You are putting forth.
No, sir, please. It is the economic advisor. Today you are addressing the economic advisor to Mr. Siddaramaiah. I am only asking a question on the back of it. I have not imputed anything. उन्होंने बोला है कि the chief minister doesn't have the money. We don't have the money to pay the voters the guarantees, to back the guarantees that we promised them. He is saying it. Rahul Shivshankar is not saying it. Don't hold me responsible. Guarantees, he says, the major financial burden is going to cost close to 58,000 crores, which we can't afford.
Initially, you see, in what state the previous government has left the exchequer, that is also a moot point, and that is to be delved into. Secondly, the funds which should be coming from the central government, you see, you are just taking the statement in isolation. There must be a point of view that the resources, the funds which needs to be transferred to the Karnataka government, they are not coming. So both the things are interrelated. If there is a resource crunch, they are not denying the fact that we don't want to honor our guarantee. At the time being, there can be, temporary resource crunch can be there, and on account of there, at the moment they must have seized, or they must have been, all these guarantees must be suffering on that account. But as soon as
Sir, excuse me,
economic
Mr.
advisor
Bansal,
or whosoever,
I'm
the
sorry,
economic wizards
there
of
you are
the
a little
state
wrong
government must be,
because Mr. Basavaraj Raya Reddy says the following. He is saying very clearly, 5 guarantees have become a huge financial burden for Karnataka. He is not talking about center resources, irrespective of center resources.
he is, you see, he is an advisor to the Karnataka Chief Minister, so he is giving a matter of fact that at the moment we are
But that is what it is, sir. You are not expecting him to lie. He has to speak on facts.
No. So,
you don't agree.
what I am saying is that we have to go further ahead. We have to go further ahead in the sense that what was the state of the exchequer at the time of the this government succeeded and at what level the resources were left in the exchequer by the previous
BJP
government.
spokesperson
Secondly,
needs to respond to you.
You should.
Let me ask him this question. You
should-
left
you
them
should-
broke.
you should contact-
You left them broke.
No,
Now you're
just-
not
just
giving
let
them the
me-
money, says the Congress spokesperson here. You left them broke. You left them a depleted exchequer. And number 2, you are not giving them vital central resources that they can use to honor their commitments. Please respond to this.
Rahul, I would like to make first single point. When we left, Karnataka was ranked number 1 state consecutive for 3 continuous years by the Niti Aayog. And the moment we made way for the Congress government, the first thing what Congress did was to stop the 14 schemes of the BJP government. See, when you have a failed and visionless leader who has more losses to his credit than winning, tell me, how can you have a scheme that will be successful? When you announce a scheme, Rahul, you just have to win elections. Just to win elections, how can it be successful? Your policies and schemes should reach the target people and should have far-reaching effect on their daily life. See, Rahul, there is a huge difference between the schemes launched by Modi and the Congress.
No, sir. Let's one second. One second, sir. It's not as if welfareism is absent from the NDA model and the BJP model. You have also given money hand over fist. In fact, sir, you even increased.
Rahul,
One second. You increased.
Today, I want to make one statement. See, today in India there are more than
But they have
35 schemes.
they have control over the
unproductive welfare schemes have also been, sir. No, 1 second. Let's not do that. Let's not do that.
Rahul,
This is not right.
See, there are around more than 35 schemes of Modi government running successfully across the country.
Thank you so much, Rahul, for being very objective and objective.
I'm always impartial, sir. It's
crores of people. And
No,
it is
thank you. I
One
salute
second.
you for this.
Okay. No, that Vijay Prasad ji, you are on slim ice here. 1 second. Let me bring in the economist here.
Let me make one single point.
Make 10 seconds.
These schemes, there are more than 35 schemes. I can read it over. But these schemes, keep it in mind, these schemes are running successfully in India for the last 10 years.
No, that doesn't matter. Some of them are in the form of rank largest. There are, sir, please, sir. Some are just handouts. Others, I agree with you. No, please. There is a distinction. There is also, I'll give you a list of handout schemes and schemes that are pointed and targeted to empower. There is a difference. It's not as if the BJP doesn't do it. Both sides do it. The point is, Prasenjit Bose. No, 1 second. The point is that sorry, Prasenjit Basu. 1 second, please. 1 second, sir. 1 second. Let him also come in. Mr. Basu, just a simple question tonight. Let's first begin by saying that both sides have stretched the envelope a little bit. Let's at least agree on that. But beyond that, I'm more interested in what is happening in Karnataka, because this model is thought to be replicated by opposition parties in other states. And what it tells you is that it is perhaps financially ruinous. And someone, whether it is the center, and even if it's the center that has to make up this gap, it is coming from my pocket, sir, at the end of the day. So why are we indulging in ruinous economics just to win elections? That's the fundamental question. It doesn't mean that, center se paisa aega, that means that center is, earned that money. No, he's taken it out of my pocket. Someone pays. Mr. Basu.
Yeah, well, basically, I think if you look at the record of the central government, the fiscal record of the central government, the current central government's record on the fiscal front is actually very good in a global context.
That's true.
If you look at the global context, we have very high fiscal deficits around the world. The fiscal deficit at the center is actually coming down and coming down quite quickly. If you look at the first 8 months of the fiscal year, the deficit was only just over 50% of the full year target after 8 months of the fiscal year. So already the central government is seeing a vast improvement. And I think what is clear is that the central government, when it takes decisions about handouts, for instance, there's a central government handout which I think is unnecessary, which is the free food grain program that is now continuing for five more years.
Yeah.
I don't think 800 million Indians need free food grain. Nonetheless, from a fiscal standpoint, the reason why it is feasible to do this is because despite running this free food grain program, the deficit is coming down. So that is a fiscally responsible.
No, that is coming down because, Mr. Basu, you would agree that the government might have been able to.
The revenues are strong.
No, but might have been able to. 1 second, Mr. Bansal, don't speak over me.
Report which they say that.
Bhaiya, sunne to do, sir, please.
Sorry.
1 minute. Mr. Basu,
so let me just come to
Mr.
the
Basu,
states.
one of the reasons is that it is feasible is because indirect taxes, direct taxes, indirect taxes specifically are being obviously collected in higher numbers, and the ambit of indirect taxes is increasing. So someone is actually paying. You and I are actually paying. The government is just doing a better job, and kudos to them from collecting this tax. Agree?
Rahul, see,
1
So let
minute,
me just
Mr.
point out, first of all,
Spokesperson of BJP, 1 second.
May I please finish my point?
Yeah, please finish.
So, the direct taxes, in fact, direct taxes, which are 53% of the government's tax revenue, have increased 25% year on year.
That's right.
In the first 8 months of the fiscal year. Administration. Now, at the state level, I think it's important to understand that Karnataka has the highest per capita income among the 10 largest states in India. So it was in a relatively good fiscal position. The central government has transferred in the year to date a substantial amount to the states, all states together. They've the year-on-year increase in central government transfers to the states is up about 9.1% in the year to date. So it's not as if the central government can be blamed. Now, basically, during elections, we have competitive populism, and unfortunately, parties of the left, including the Congress, tend to be much more profligate in the
more profligate. The fact is, viewers.
The sorts of things
I think Mr. Basu has been extremely balanced and honest. Both sides do it. I think he's being very balanced. He's being very honest with all of us. Yes, viewers, the point is, and we have to become very careful and astute as voters. Let me tell you, this program is about educating us as voters, because look, they will promise a lot. If they can't meet the budgetary allocation to fund these schemes, something else will be cut. Now, you know what is happening in Karnataka, viewers? The government is now asking private entrepreneurs to come forward from their CSR budgets. CSR budgets, 1 second, sir, CSR budgets, to contribute funds from those budgets to build roads and maintain them. Now, CSR budgets, viewers, corporate social responsibility, go towards other welfare. So, some welfare is going to be trimmed. This money, if it is diverted, it's very bad precedent. That would have gone to education, health funds, spends from corporates. But this is going to go into ensuring that the roads are pothole free. Now, viewers, you make up your mind. Do you want smoother roads? Or do you want better hospitals? You would want ideally both.
Can I?
You would ideally want both. And that can't happen if you're voting in governments that are promising to, give you this or that, the other. That for a short term will make your life better, but in the long term hurt you. Think about it. Think about it. I'll take a short break, viewers. Think about it.
Hello, Moto.
Co-powered by.
They take responsibility and try to look forward what they're going to do next. I think that would just overall just kind of help the sentiment around the stock. I think you do have to look at the suppliers. Like I said, I mentioned Spirit Aerosystems. They're the ones that provide the fuselage that had the breakdown here. So as you go further down the chain, that will affect, and you probably will see some turnover in the suppliers for Boeing. That's probably where you're going to see the biggest hit, where Boeing is forced to move away from a specific supplier because they're the one that ultimately takes that blame. Anytime you're flying in the air, I can imagine that brings a lot of emotion. So even from people that are on the ground, it makes them more worrisome about their air travel. So that will have an effect short term on just the entire airline industry, without a doubt. But as an investor, I see this as just a short term issue, which ultimately will lead to the stock rebounding as they kind of figure this out and find solutions to make sure it doesn't happen again.
Shares of Boeing fell 7% in midday trading Monday, though were down more earlier, following the temporary grounding of some of the company's best-selling 737 MAX jets by the U.S. aviation regulator. This came after an accident Friday, where a cabin panel ripped off an Alaska Airlines jet while in midair shortly after takeoff, forcing pilots to return to the airport in Portland, Oregon, where the flight originated. The plane, with 171 passengers and 6 crew on board, landed safely. Shares of the airline fell in morning trading but were near break-even by midday, while those of Spirit Aerosystems, which makes the plane part in question, were 8% lower at lunchtime, which was better than their performance at the opening bell. The 60-pound part of the fuselage that came off covers an optional exit door. It was recovered on Sunday by a Portland school teacher who found it in his backyard. U.S. National Transportation Safety Board Chair Jennifer Homendy said. The piece will be thoroughly inspected, she said, though investigators won't have the recording of the communication of pilots from the cockpit voice recorder or CVR to review. Currently, regulations only require that device to record the last 2 hours of communication, and it was too late when it was recovered, renewing attention on an industry call for longer in-flight recordings.
There was a lot going on the flight deck and on the plane. It's a very chaotic event. The circuit breaker for the CVR was not pulled. The maintenance team went out to get it, but it was right at about the 2-hour mark, and it was completely overwritten. At 2 hours, it re-records over it, so we have nothing from the CVR.
This incident is just the latest in a series of problems Boeing has had with its MAX jets. Crashes in 2018 and 2019 killed nearly 350 people and led to the MAX's worldwide grounding for 20 months. In this instance, Boeing confirmed Monday it had already taken steps to get the grounded planes back in the air. It has shared instructions with airlines about inspecting the grounded fleet, which is a key requirement of regulators before the planes can resume service.
menemukan salah satu dari dua black box yang terpasang.
Shah Rukh Khan's persona goes far beyond his iconic real image. His real avatar is what has left an indelible mark in the hearts and souls of thousands who he helps every day. At the forefront of his charitable initiatives stands the Mir Foundation, a non-profit organization that he founded. This foundation is dedicated to empowering women and aiding acid attack survivors, providing them with medical support, rehabilitation, and vocational training. Beyond gender-based causes, Shah Rukh Khan has also been a steadfast supporter of child healthcare, actively participating in campaigns against child malnutrition and contributing to the construction of pediatric hospitals. He's also been instrumental in promoting child literacy. Shah Rukh Khan was honored with UNESCO's Pyramid Kon Mani Award in 2011 for his support of children's education and the World Economic Forum's Crystal Award in 2018 for advocating women and children's rights in India. Shah Rukh Khan has extended his financial assistance to those battling cancer and contributing to cancer research. His generosity extends to disaster relief efforts where he has consistently provided aid to communities affected by natural disasters. During the COVID-19 pandemic, Shah Rukh Khan demonstrated leadership by contributing significantly to various relief funds, facilitating the supply of medical equipment and using his platform to raise awareness. Through these diverse philanthropic initiatives, Shah Rukh Khan exemplifies a commitment to making a tangible difference in the lives of those in need.
With his effortless charm and 3 mega blockbusters, the King of Bollywood is coming to Indian of the Year 2023. 10th January 2024, 6 p.m. onwards on CNN News 18. Co-presented by new Kia Sonet, Wild Reborn.
Namaste, Jai Hind, and welcome to this very, very special presentation, ladies and gentlemen. It's not very often that you can get them physically in the studio, and it's such a pleasure to have all of them. And we're talking about Ram Mandir for India. The various dimensions, aspects over the course of the next hour, we will try and dive into various aspects. How significant is the 22nd of January, the consecration of Ram Lala, punah virajman ho rahe hain apni janbhumi par. And the various aspects, the fight, the struggle, the interpretations, the narratives, a lot of aspects. But more importantly, for you, me, everybody, Ram means something. What does Ram mean for all of us? And why is it and how is it that he's become so integral to Bharat? That Prime Minister Narendra Modi himself, he said in 1995, when he was not even a chief minister or a prime minister, he wrote a lovely poem. And he was at that time in charge of Jammu and Kashmir, and in his letterhead it's mentioned, and it's there on news18.com. Rajesh Kumar Singh has chronicled it, where he writes ki without Ram, how can a Bharat be Bharatvarsh? That's how he ends that lovely poem that he's written. So we'll come to all of that, but first let's introduce all our panelists. Arif Ajakia ji is with us.
Namaskar.
Good to have you here in Bharat. आपका बहुत-बहुत स्वागत है.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Dr. Anand Ranganathan, a familiar face here on CNN News 18 and everywhere, omnipresent, omniscient actually on social media and otherwise. So he's there with us, and he is the Darwinian atheist amongst us. So to get the Ram perspective from him will be interesting. Vishnu Shankar Jain, well, him and his father, I think the Hindu fraternity overall owes a lot to